There comes a quiet moment in every person's life when noise no longer impresses them, when they begin choosing depth over distraction, peace over validation, purpose over applause. That is the moment the world changes its shape, because you changed yours. This is how high-value individuals are formed. 1. You nitrogen monoxide longer react to everything. There is a certain strength that arrives in your life without announcement, without applause, without ceremony. One day, you simply notice that the things that once disturbed you no longer have the same power. The comments that once pierced you now fall away, like rain sliding down a stone. The opinions that once made you bend no longer move you at all. You start responding with calm, or sometimes with nothing at all. And that silence is not weakness, it is evolution. Because high-value individuals are not shaped by how loudly they respond, but by how selectively they choose to respond. You start realizing that most conflict in this world is born from wounded egos, not real issues. Someone feels ignored, someone feels threatened, someone feels unseen. And because they cannot regulate their own emotions, they demand that you carry them. But you stop picking up every emotional package handed to you. You stop making every discomfort your responsibility. You stop treating every disagreement like a war that must be won. You rise above it, not out of superiority, but out of clarity. Because, as Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In your earlier years, you probably reacted quickly because reacting made you feel in control. Someone insulted you, you fired back. Someone disagreed, you argued. Someone doubted you, you tried to prove yourself. But the truth is simple. Reacting is the behavior of someone still trying to protect an ego that hasn't fully matured. When you grow into a high-value individual, you learn that proving yourself is a form of self-betrayal. Because the moment you try to prove your worth, you've already forgotten it. And so you change not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly and inwardly. You start observing instead of absorbing. You start pausing instead of exploding. You start choosing your emotional investments with the same discipline you choose your financial ones. And this is where the shift happens. The world begins to treat you differently because you treat yourself differently. You begin to notice how energy moves. You notice how some people communicate to understand, while others communicate to win. You notice how some conversations are traps designed to pull you into conflict you don't even believe in. You notice how some people weaponize your empathy, hoping you will react so they can justify their own chaos. But you do not give them what they want. You stop feeding fires that will only burn your peace. You learn the profound Stoic truth that not every battle deserves your sword. This emotional discipline does not make you cold. It makes you wise. Because you start to understand that peace is not the absence of conflict, but the refusal to participate in unnecessary ones. You stop mistaking loudness for power. You stop believing that every opinion needs your reply. You stop allowing every inconvenience to become an emergency. You realize that your time, your energy, and your attention are sacred currencies. And every reaction is a withdrawal. A high-value individual knows the value of conservation. They protect their peace the way a warrior protects their shield. They understand that responding to everything is a luxury they can no longer afford. And so you begin practicing the hard discipline of letting things go. Letting comments drift past you. Letting people misunderstand you. Letting situations resolve themselves without your intervention. You realize that if someone wants to misinterpret your silence, let them. If someone wants to assume the worst about you, let them. If someone wants to start a war with themselves and invite you into it, decline the invitation. Because the moment you stop reacting to everything, you stop living as a servant to other people's emotions. This shift is not just spiritual, it is deeply practical. In relationships, you become more stable. You stop escalating small issues into big fights. You listen with intention instead of defensiveness. You communicate like an adult, not a wounded child seeking validation. In friendships, you stop being the person who absorbs everyone's emotional chaos. You stop being the fixer. You stop taking responsibility for people who weaponize their problems instead of solving them. In the workplace, your calm becomes a superpower. You navigate conflict without being consumed by it. You stay composed under pressure, while others crumble under their own reactions. You become the person people trust, not because you are loud, but because you are grounded. The world begins to shift around you because you have shifted within. You no longer respond immediately. You no longer let your emotions make decisions. You no longer let your mood depend on someone else's behavior. You replace reactivity with mastery. You replace impulsiveness with intention. You replace noise with silence. Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." And this is what emotional non-reactivity truly is, a form of freedom. When you do not react to everything, nothing owns you. Not criticism, not praise, not gossip, not conflict, not misunderstanding. You begin to operate from a place of inner authority. You stop being pulled like a puppet by every external string. You stop chasing validation like a hungry animal searching for scraps. You stop needing the world to confirm your worth, because your worth sits quietly within you, unmoved and unshakable. The irony is this: when you stop reacting, you gain more respect. People trust those who do not fold under pressure. They admire those who remain calm in stormy waters. They are drawn to those who do not leak emotion everywhere they go. This is why non-reactivity is one of the strongest signs you are becoming a high-value individual, because it shows you have mastered what most people never will: yourself. And that is the foundation of all value self-control. The ability to choose your response. The ability to pause before speaking. The ability to walk away when needed. The ability to stand still when others rush. The ability to remain composed in a world full of emotional volatility. You become steady, and in your steadiness, you become rare. And what is rare is always valuable. High-value individuals do not rise by shouting. They rise by staying calm. They rise because while others waste their strength reacting to everything, they save theirs for what truly matters. They rise because they understand the most powerful person in any room is the one who does not need to prove it. They rise because they have mastered the art of inner stillness, even when the world tries to provoke them. And this mastery is what elevates you, quietly, fully, permanently. This is the first sign you are evolving. You no longer react. You respond if necessary. You remain silent when wise. You stay grounded always. It is not the world that changed. It is you. And because of that, everything else follows. 2. You prioritize solitude over noise. There comes a stage in your evolution when solitude stops feeling like loneliness and begins to feel like oxygen. A place where the world finally becomes quiet enough for you to hear your own thoughts without interruption. A place where you don't have to shrink, adjust, entertain, or perform. A place where your spirit can expand without worrying who is watching. This shift, this deepening love of solitude, is not born from isolation. It is born from growth. Because the more you elevate, the less noise you tolerate. At first, solitude feels unnatural, especially in a world that worships noise. Social media tells you to post more, share more, reveal more. Society tells you to stay busy, stay visible, stay connected. People tell you that silence is suspicious, and being alone must mean something is wrong. But eventually, you stop listening. You start realizing that constant noise is not a sign of life. It is a sign of avoidance. Many people surround themselves with others to avoid themselves. They fear the silence because silence exposes truth. Silence shows you the parts of yourself you've been running from. Silence reflects your real priorities, your real wounds, your real patterns. And most people aren't ready to face that. But you are. You begin choosing solitude because you no longer fear meeting yourself. You no longer fear your own mind. You no longer fear being alone with your thoughts. And that is when you rise above the world's chaos. Because the truth is simple, the strongest people in history all understood the necessity of solitude. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." High-value individual understands this instinctively, not as a poetic line, but as a daily practice. You withdraw not to escape life, but to see it clearly. This love for solitude changes you. It sharpens your awareness. It strengthens your intuition. It deepens your clarity. In solitude, you begin to understand what drains you and what nourishes you. You begin seeing who you are without external influence. You begin noticing how much of your old life was shaped by pressure, expectation, and noise. Solitude becomes the place where your real identity emerges, a version of you that is not filtered by approval or shaped by the opinions of others. Most people avoid solitude because it feels empty. But high-value individuals realize that solitude is not empty. It is spacious. It is where your creativity breathes. It is where your discipline is forged. It is where your boundaries form like stone. Because in solitude, you are no longer reacting to others. You are no longer caught in the whirlwind of comparison, gossip, or validation. You detach from the emotional climate of other people's lives. You let your nervous system settle. You let your mind settle. You let your soul settle. And from that stillness, strength rises naturally. There is a reason many people fear those who enjoy solitude, because you become unconquerable. You no longer depend on others for entertainment, fulfillment, or identity. You stop chasing invitations. You stop needing constant affirmation. You stop relying on noise to fill the hollow spaces of your life. And when you no longer need those things, the world loses its control over you. You begin valuing your time with precision. You stop tolerating chaotic people because you see how quickly they disrupt the peace you worked hard to build. You stop saying yes to shallow interactions, out of politeness or habit. You stop seeking social approval through constant presence. You choose fewer people, deeper conversations, quieter moments. Your relationships shift, not because you isolate, but because you refine. And as you step further into solitude, you start noticing a powerful truth. Your peace becomes your standard. Your silence becomes your sanctuary. Your solitude becomes your strength. When you spend enough time alone, you learn to trust yourself. You learn to enjoy your own company. You learn to generate your own joy instead of outsourcing it. This is a form of independence most people never achieve. Many rely on others to distract them, validate them, soothe them. But you learn to self-regulate. You learn to self-validate. You learn to self-respect. You become your own anchor, your own compass, your own foundation. And that is a powerful place to stand. Solitude teaches you emotional discipline. You stop reacting impulsively because solitude gives you space to reflect. You stop taking things personally because solitude reminds you that most things have nothing to do with you. You stop feeling desperate for connection because solitude fills the emptiness that once made you cling. You stop chasing people who do not see your worth. Your standards rise naturally, not out of pride, but out of inner fullness. This shift changes how others perceive you. Suddenly, you become mysterious to those who expect you to always be available. You become unpredictable to those who rely on your attention for their own self-esteem. You become intimidating to those who gain power through your reactions. People sense that you don't need them in the same way. You're not dependent. You're not desperate. You're not easily influenced. You have stepped out of the emotional economy of others. And because of that, your presence becomes more valuable, not less. When you like being alone, your relationships improve. You no longer stay in toxic situations just to avoid loneliness. You no longer tolerate disrespect just to keep someone around. You no longer cling when someone pulls away. You no longer beg for attention. You approach relationships with maturity instead of fear. You give space. You receive space. You communicate clearly. You observe patterns. You choose intentionally. You love without losing yourself. Because solitude taught you that your company is already enough. Solitude also reveals a truth many people never understand. Most of your suffering came from being overstimulated, overcommitted, and overconnected. You were carrying 1,000 voices that weren't yours. You were absorbing emotions that weren't yours. You were trying to fix people who weren't fixing themselves. Solitude interrupts that cycle. It forces a reset. It silences the noise long enough for you to hear the truth beneath it. And that truth is this: you become a high-value individual when you no longer fear being alone. Because solitude is the birthplace of self-control, discipline, intuition, creativity, purpose, clarity, strength. Epictetus wrote, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Solitude teaches you this. It teaches you to step away from the crowd long enough to grow without needing applause. It teaches you to evolve quietly. It teaches you to build internally before showing anything externally. And this quiet evolution is what separates you from those who seek their worth in attention. A high-value individual is not someone who avoids people. It is someone who does not lose themselves among people. It is someone who chooses connection from wholeness, not emptiness. It is someone who can stand alone without collapsing inward. It is someone who can enjoy silence without feeling incomplete. This is why solitude becomes a sign of your evolution, because you begin to understand that the world's noise can entertain you, but only solitude can transform you. You stop seeking distraction and start seeking depth. You stop craving attention and start craving alignment. You stop running from silence and start breathing inside it. This is not loneliness. This is maturity. This is strength. This is value. And the world feels different because you are finally rooted in yourself. Solitude is no longer a place you avoid. It is the place where you rise. 3. You no longer chase validation. There comes a moment in a person's evolution when applause loses its flavor, when approval stops feeling like oxygen and starts looking like a leash. High-value individuals don't rebel loudly against validation. They simply outgrow the hunger for it. They learn that chasing approval is the surest way to lose themselves, and that silence is always more powerful than performance. When you stop needing validation, you become dangerous in the calmest way. You move through rooms with a serenity that cannot be faked, because you are no longer calculating how others see you. You are no longer editing yourself for acceptance. You are no longer performing for an audience. You simply exist, and in a world addicted to attention, existence without permission is power. A person who no longer seeks validation becomes unreadable. Narcissists can't manipulate them. Insecure people can't control them. Opinionated people can't intimidate them. Why? Because their sense of self has slipped from public hands back into their own. They no longer check mirrors to confirm they exist. They no longer treat compliments as currency. They no longer shrink when criticized. They've stabilized internally, and when the inside is anchored, the outside becomes irrelevant. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Ambition means tying your well-being to what others say or do. Sanity means tying it to your own actions." This is the heart of it: sanity, peace, self-rule. When you detach from validation, you begin to see how deeply others depend on it. The constant reassurance, the fear of being disliked, the obsessive need to be seen, praised, applauded. You begin to see how loud insecurity truly is. You begin to see how draining it is to constantly seek confirmation that you are enough. But you move differently now. You understand that validation is a drug, legal, socially rewarded, but equally addictive. It makes weak men feel strong for a moment, then emptier a minute later. It makes lost women feel found for a second, and directionless as soon as the praise fades. And the tragedy is that most people live their entire lives dependent on this external source of identity, never realizing they are starving themselves from within. Not you. You have chosen the harder path, to self-generate your worth, to create your own internal metrics, to let your actions be the judge, not the crowd. High-value individuals don't silence the world. They silence the craving for the world. And once that craving dies, every room stops controlling them. You stop chasing validation the moment you realize it changes nothing about who you truly are. Compliments don't make you better. Insults don't make you worse. Opinions don't alter your path. Praise can feel pleasant, but it's no longer necessary. Criticism can sound loud, but it no longer penetrates. It's like being in the eye of a storm, motion everywhere, stillness within. And this stillness is intimidating. People feel uncomfortable around someone who cannot be controlled by their approval. They project, they attack, they misunderstand. They assume arrogance when what they're witnessing is self-respect. They assume indifference when what they're witnessing is emotional sovereignty. They assume you think you're better, when in reality, you've simply stopped needing them to tell you who you are. This is why high-value individuals radiate an aura of quiet danger. They have reclaimed the space within themselves that most people have outsourced to the world. They operate from a center that is unshakable because it was built without permission, without applause, without witnesses. Epictetus reminded, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. And this is the ultimate test of ego. Can you stand firm even when misunderstood? Can you hold your composure even when unpraised? Can you walk your path even when no one claps? Most cannot. But you are no longer most. When you stop chasing validation, you stop playing games. You stop negotiating your value. You stop shrinking to avoid judgment. You stop exaggerating to impress. You stop bending to be liked. You stop living through their lens. You step out of the performance and into presence. Your power becomes quiet. Your confidence becomes internal. Your worth becomes non-negotiable. High-value individuals don't silence the world. They silence their dependence on the world. And once you've mastered that, no ego, including your own, can control you. 4. You don't react. You observe. A high-value individual becomes dangerous the moment they stop reacting. Not because they suppress emotion, but because they learn to master it. Reaction is the language of the untrained mind, impulsive, loud, predictable. Observation is the language of the evolved, quiet, calculated, unreadable. Most people don't realize it, but emotional control is the ultimate form of power. The moment you stop giving instant responses, instant expressions, instant outbursts, you become a mystery. And nothing unsettles insecure people more than someone they cannot provoke. A person who reacts is easy to control. Raise your voice. They panic. Withdraw approval. They crumble. Push their buttons. They break. But a person who observes, a person who sits in silence while others unravel, that person becomes untouchable. Because while everyone else is burning energy, you're gathering information. While they expose themselves, you conceal yourself. While their emotions scatter, yours sharpen. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This is the core of observation, strength born from internal order. You stop letting external chaos dictate your inner weather. You remain the calm in every storm, the steady pulse in a world addicted to panic, and this calmness is not passive. It is strategic. It is precise. It is the quiet dominance of someone who refuses to be manipulated. When you observe, you see what others miss, their insecurities, their patterns, their desperation for validation, their need for control. You notice how people reveal themselves in their attempts to trigger you. You notice the subtle shifts, the shaky voice, the forced smile, the tightening jaw. You notice the contradictions between their words and their energy. Observation turns human behavior into a readable map. And once you can read someone, you no longer fear them. Once you stop reacting to someone, they can no longer use your emotions against you. This is why narcissists hate the observant. They cannot feed on a mind that doesn't flinch. They cannot dominate a presence that doesn't shrink. They cannot manipulate a person who studies them with silent clarity. Your calmness exposes their chaos. Your patience exposes their desperation. Your silence exposes their insecurity. They feel it, even if they cannot explain it. And the more they try to provoke you, the more their weakness shows. High-value individuals don't silence others. They simply stop feeding the fire. They let people reveal themselves fully, without interference, without emotional noise. And once someone reveals who they truly are, you gain the upper hand without lifting a finger. Observation is not detachment from the world. It is mastery over yourself in the world. It is the discipline to pause when others rush, to breathe when others explode, to analyze when others accuse, to stay composed when others demand chaos. This level of internal control is rare because it requires strength most people never develop. It requires humility, patience, a refusal to let ego run the show. But once you reach that level, you move through life like an apex predator, not because you attack, but because you wait. Not because you dominate, but because you're impossible to dominate. You become the person who sees everything and reveals nothing. The person who responds with precision, not impulse. The person whose presence alone disrupts the unstable. Observation is the art of seeing clearly without losing yourself. Reaction is the habit of losing yourself without seeing clearly. A high-value individual chooses the first, always. 5. You protect your energy with precision. A high-value individual becomes powerful the moment they understand that energy is currency, and most people are spiritually bankrupt. The world is full of emotional parasites, attention beggars, and insecure minds looking for someone to drain. But you, when you rise in value, no longer offer yourself freely. You manage your energy like a strategist managing limited resources, carefully, intentionally, ruthlessly. Most people don't protect their energy because they don't understand its worth. They allow anyone access to their mood, their attention, their peace. They let small arguments steal hours, toxic people steal clarity, and meaningless distractions steal purpose. But the moment you begin to evolve, you grow intolerant to wasted energy. Not angry, just aware. Not reactive, just selective. The Stoics said, if you value your peace, you will avoid many situations. You realize that most conflict is unnecessary. Most conversations are pointless. Most invitations are traps disguised as opportunities. And most people only want proximity because your energy gives them something they cannot produce themselves. That's the truth few are ready to admit. As you rise, you stop giving everyone equal access. You start noticing who leaves you drained, who leaves you empty, who leaves you unfocused. And you withdraw, quietly, without announcement, without guilt. Not out of cruelty, but out of responsibility to your own growth. Your energy is the engine of your life. If you let the wrong people siphon it, your path collapses. This is where your value becomes untouchable. You no longer explain your boundaries. You no longer justify your distance. You no longer apologize for protecting what keeps you strong. A narcissist hates this version of you. They thrive on emotional access. They need your reactions, your attention, your energy to inflate their fragile ego. When you cut off the supply, their power dissolves. They feel the silence like a wound. They sense the distance like a threat. The more you protect your energy, the more their illusion of control collapses. To the insecure, your boundaries feel like rejection. To the manipulative, your discipline feels like resistance. To the desperate, your peace feels like abandonment. But to you, it feels like freedom. This is the moment you shift from prey to predator. Not because you attack, but because you conserve. Not because you dominate, but because you refuse to be drained. Not because you seek control, but because you refuse to be controlled. You move with intention now. You choose who enters your space. You choose where your time goes. You choose what deserves your emotional investment. Energy management becomes your quiet weapon. Your presence no longer comes cheap. Your attention no longer comes freely. Your peace becomes your highest form of wealth. And the world feels the difference. You protect your energy not with anger, but with elegance. Not with walls, but with standards. Not with aggression, but with clarity. High-value individuals don't guard their energy because they're cold. They do it because they finally understand what it's worth. 6. You become immune to emotional manipulation. A high-value individual reaches a turning point where emotional manipulation no longer lands, no longer stings, no longer influences anything. Not because they've become heartless, but because they've become aware. They see the tactics. They feel the patterns. They recognize the game long before anyone else realizes they're playing it. Most people are controlled by subtle emotional hooks: guilt, flattery, passive aggression, silent treatment, fake urgency. These are the tools of people who lack real power, so they manipulate the emotions of others to compensate. But when you evolve, you stop reacting to triggers that once dictated your life. This is when you become dangerous. Not reckless dangerous, but psychologically untouchable. The Stoics said, when the mind is undisturbed, the world loses its power. And that's exactly what happens. The world loses its power over you. You don't rise to bait. You don't fall for sob stories timed with convenience. You don't bend when guilt is weaponized. You don't respond to emotional noise designed to pull you out of your center. You've learned that emotional reactivity is how weak people control strong ones. So you remove the weakness. You remove the reaction. You remove the vulnerability that manipulators prey on. A narcissist particularly suffers when facing someone they cannot manipulate. Their entire identity is built on controlling emotional climates, making people chase approval, chase closure, chase peace. When you stop chasing, their strategy collapses. When you don't respond to the provocation, they lose their leverage. When you remain calm, their chaos becomes powerless. You don't argue, because arguing gives them fuel. You don't justify yourself, because defending yourself gives them authority. You don't beg for clarity, because seeking answers gives them control. Instead, you observe. You stay grounded. You stay silent where others would explode. You stay composed where others would panic. And this silence is not weakness. It is psychological dominance. It is the confidence of someone who no longer needs validation, closure, or permission. It is the posture of someone who sees through manipulation the way an eagle sees through fog. High-value individuals don't allow others to set the tone. They choose the emotional frequency. They decide the pace of the interaction. They maintain control by mastering themselves, not others. When manipulation fails, the manipulator reveals their true self, insecure, desperate, exposed. This is when your power becomes undeniable. You didn't fight them. You didn't confront them. You didn't try to break them. You simply refused to be moved. And nothing shatters a narcissist's ego more deeply than realizing they cannot control your mind, your mood, or your peace. Your calm becomes your shield. Your awareness becomes your sword. Your self-mastery becomes your quiet victory. You become immune, and immunity is the ultimate defeat for anyone who survives on manipulation. 7. Silence speaks louder than words. High-value individuals understand a truth most never grasp. Words are cheap. Attention is currency, and silence is a weapon sharper than any argument. The narcissist depends on noise, loud reactions, explosive defenses desperate justifications. They feed on your participation. They live in your emotional response. Remove the response, and the predator becomes powerless. You stop explaining yourself. You stop pleading for recognition. You stop defending decisions that no one truly owns but yourself. Because the moment you argue, the moment you try to correct perception, the moment you react, you've handed them control. Epictetus taught, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Your silence signals abundance. Your composure signals mastery. Your unshaken presence signals that their ego cannot touch you. In modern arenas, social media, workplaces, personal relationships, narcissists thrive on visibility. Every post you respond to, every compliment you concede, every emotion you display becomes a tool in their hands. They craft narratives, they stir storms, they manufacture crises. But the apex predator Stoic doesn't feed the storm. He watches it, silent, unmoved. The world may scream, the ego may rage, but the high-value individual understands the power of non-engagement. By withholding reaction, you communicate a message far louder than words. You do not need validation. You do not need their approval. You do not exist for their amusement. The more they push, the more they attempt to provoke, the more silent you remain, the faster their control erodes. They become frantic, irrational, and exposed. Their tools, once effective, become visible weapons of desperation. Silence is not passive. Silence is deliberate. Silence is the apex predator's method of domination without cruelty, of dismantling ego without confrontation, of asserting control without surrendering integrity. In silence, you demonstrate mastery over self, over perception, over the chaos they wish to impose. And the narcissist, confronted by a mind unmoved, begins to unravel. Not because you shouted, but because you stopped playing. Not because you sought justice, but because you claimed autonomy. Not because you broke them, but because you refused to be broken. This is the quiet art of dominance, of dismantling manipulation with nothing but stillness, presence, and unshakable composure. The apex predator never fights in anger. They win in calm, letting the world reveal its weakness while they remain unshaken. The ultimate truth is simple. When you do not react, you do not lose. You cannot be controlled. You cannot be owned. You cannot be diminished. And the narcissist, faced with a fortress they cannot breach, loses without a single blow. 8. Boundaries are your invisible armor. High-value individuals do not negotiate their peace. They understand that the most dangerous predator is one who allows no breach. A narcissist will probe, test, and manipulate every line you've drawn, your time, your attention, your emotions. But you are not obligated to respond. You are not required to justify. You are not a resource to be exploited. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Protect it, guard it, armor it with boundaries so resolute that no ego can penetrate. Boundaries are invisible, yet undeniable. They are calm refusals, polite declinations, unwavering stances that communicate without confrontation. This is mine, and it is untouchable. In social media, in workplaces, in relationships, boundaries act as shields against the constant intrusion of toxic egos. You do not need to explain why you leave a conversation. You do not need to justify why you disengage. You do not need to apologize for existing outside their control. Every time you enforce a boundary, you demonstrate mastery of self, showing that your life is yours to govern, not theirs to manipulate. The narcissist despises boundaries because they strip away leverage. They crave entitlement. They demand energy. They expect your attention. And when they encounter resistance, they become agitated, restless, and exposed. You remain unmoved. You act with precision, not emotion. Epictetus wrote, "Make the mind tougher by exposing it to adversity. Your boundary is adversity to them, and through it, you cultivate resilience. This is where the apex predator Stoic thrives. You are not retaliating. You are not punishing. You are demonstrating that control over your own life is sacred, non-negotiable, and untouchable. The narcissist, confronted with such invisible yet impermeable armor, begins to crumble. Their threats lose meaning. Their manipulation falls flat. Their ego, once inflated by your reactions, deflates silently. Boundaries are freedom made physical. They allow you to exist without surrender. They ensure your energy is reserved for what matters. They protect your focus, your peace, and your purpose. The narcissist may scream, whine, or attempt to guilt you, but you remain a fortress, calm and impenetrable. In this calm enforcement, there is power. In this unyielding discipline, there is victory. You do not destroy them with words, because words feed them. You do not engage in conflict, because conflict empowers them. You destroy their influence by existing outside their reach, composed, unshakable, sovereign. The ultimate truth is simple. The strongest chains they wield are the ones you refuse to touch. Boundaries are your silent conquest. They cannot cross what you will not allow, and the narcissist, faced with a life they cannot manipulate, loses quietly, inevitably, irreversibly. Freedom is not declared in words. It is held in silence, in stillness, in unshakable alignment with yourself. You do not chase attention. You do not perform. You do not justify. The world may roar, the narcissist may strike, but your sovereignty is untouchable. In restraint, there is power. In calm, there is mastery. In silence, there is liberation. You have dismantled the need for validation. You have reclaimed your mind, your time, your peace. And in this quiet dominion, the ego of another falls, while your own rises, untamed, unbroken, absolute.